since the invention of the table.
That's right.
Table.
You wanted to.
Pop. Bears. Beats. Battlestar.
Stay on target.
You can't handle the truth.
Stay on target.
It's over 9,000! What, 9,000?
With great power comes great responsibility.
There's only one God, man. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
I'm Connor.
You're next. You're here.
You
Okay.
are always second.
I'm always second. Okay, hi. I'm Jacob.
I'm Jordan Summers.
You'd think that after 10 episodes, I'd finally get it.
And I'm thankful for these two. For one thing. For one thing, I'm thankful for both of these two. Two, I'm Jordan Summers, and I'm thankful for God. I'm thankful to God for creating pigs so we can have bacon. Bacon.
Bacon. And welcome to this chaotic show. This is Pop Culture Redemption. And again, we're just here having a conversation about how the church can have better vision about God's presence and work in pop culture.
Pop.
Well,
You
welcome to this.
Think of it.
Oh,
You could think of it as laser corrective surgery for the church's vision.
Ooh.
wow.
Except none of us are particularly great with that laser. But the three of us together,
Oh, we're trying.
the three of us together can hold it more steady.
But you're not
Just like the church.
if we're each lasers, you're not supposed to cross streams.
You're not supposed to cross streams.
What is happening right now? Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. This episode is airing on the week of Thanksgiving. And as Jake mentioned briefly, this is our 10th episode.
10th episode!
What? 10 episodes? Oh my gosh, I can't believe we made it to 10.
10 episodes of me accidentally hitting the cricket button.
Yeah. Maybe on the 20th episode, you'll get it by then. Maybe. We'll see what happens. Again, thank you for tuning in today, wherever, however, and whyever you get your podcasts. We encourage you to check out our YouTube channel if you're not viewing us there right now. One of our shorts just got almost 1,000 views, so we're pretty amped about that.
What?
So if you want to know which one that is, you can go look. You can always contact the show at admin@popcr.org. And we're trying to use our Spotify poll capabilities a little bit better. We want to increase just engagement with you all, our audience. We know that kind of emailing in, that being the only way that
Who
we
uses
can
email anymore?
That's right.
anyways?
So we're trying to branch out. We're trying to expand a little bit. So Spotify poll, or you can leave this answer in the comment. As part of that, we're trying to decide how best to interact with you all and how we can connect with one another on a social media platform. So if you could fill out the poll and let us know what media platform you'd like to see the show on to interact with us and with other people listening to the show week in and week out, that would be really helpful for us. So you can check it out on the Spotify poll. You know, things like Instagram or Facebook or Twitter /X, Reddit, TikTok,
Vine.
Vine.
Let's bring back Vine. Let's start the campaign.
Look,
So it was
when
too
the
early.
vine is disconnected from its branches.
The true Vine.
Oh, great.
And as part of today's Thanksgiving episode, I'm curious, boys, what's your favorite Thanksgiving side?
See, you asked that before we hit the record.
I
and
did.
I've been trying to think about it since.
Yep.
What can we qualify as a Thanksgiving?
Yeah,
what can we qualify as a Thanksgiving side?
That's probably a good thing to figure out first.
Listen, whatever you usually eat on Thanksgiving, whatever your friend group or family or whatever you do for Thanksgiving or you see in movies or anything like that, it's all on the table. This is Thanksgiving.
But, like,
it's
the
all
turkey
on
doesn't
the table.
count as a side.
No, the turkey would
So
be the main.
what else does not
Everything
count as
else
the side?
is a side. Everything. Probably not a dessert. Don't name a dessert. A side. I'm talking mashed potatoes. I'm talking green bean casserole. I'm talking croissants.
Ooh.
I'm talking croissant. I'm talking regular green beans. I'm talking cheesy potatoes. I'm talking those kinds of things. Stuffing. Yeah.
Can't leave out stuffing.
Well, I mean, what you got?
I'm going to go with mashed potatoes.
Well
And
done.
here's why.
Okay.
Because normally mashed potatoes are like not always, but often done with like the box stuff. And Thanksgiving is like the perfect excuse everybody gives themselves to make it the homemade way. And I am a sucker for potatoes, like any kind of potatoes,
What about sweet potatoes?
except sweet potatoes,
Excuse me.
unless it's a dessert. I'm fine with sweet potatoes if they're a dessert. I don't like sweet potatoes if it's like not in dessert form. So like sweet potato French fries, not my jam. Which is hilarious for me because I'm pretty sure I have the biggest sweet tooth out of all three of us.
Might be the case.
I can't believe you right now.
Jacob, make your case for sweet potatoes.
They're sweet potatoes. I don't need to make a case.
They're potatoes and they're sweet. What do we need to talk about?
Sweet and savory. Sweet potato fries. First of all, you add the savory of the ketchup with the sweetness of the sweet potato fry. Come on.
Is that the side you're going with, or would you like to pick something else?
Well, an honorable mention in my household, because I know my parents are probably going to be listening to this, are the dinner rolls that my mom always manages to burn the bottom of. So it's got a nice layer of crunch to it.
Yep.
But since you brought up, I'm kind of stuck because I was going to say stuffing, but then you brought up the green bean casserole.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like I can't pick one.
That's fine. That's the whole point of Thanksgiving, right? You don't have to pick just one. You can have them both.
Can I say my honorable mention?
Yes, go for it.
Corn on the freaking cob.
Oh,
Yes.
In my opinion, there's no better way to eat corn
Then on the cob
than on the cob.
or off the cob, straight off the cob.
I mean, yeah.
I thought that's what you do whenever you're just like improving something. It's off the cob.
No, that's off the cuff.
That's right.
That's when it's unrested.
For me, it doesn't get better than the croissants.
Croissant?
Or the like Pillsbury Doughboy, whatever those are, croissant roll thing. Like at our family Thanksgiving in Wichita, where my whole mom's side of the family gathers, it's like those things are gone. You got to grab two right off the bat,
so soft and
it will not
buttery.
make it around again.
Like me.
That's right. There you go. Warm, soft,
See,
buttery.
my family started the best tradition. I think this was probably 3 years ago. And we've been slowly perfecting it or just changing it every year since, as we get together on Wednesday as well. And so the first day, it was Wednesday night desserts. And there's like 7 different pies, a couple of cakes. We made I think my mom tried to make my grandma's like a party jello. It was way too sweet. We couldn't take it anymore.
Yep.
But last year they did hors d'oeuvres. And this year when I go home for Thanksgiving, we're doing dip night.
Oh, nice.
You talking Skull or Copenhagen?
What? What? Wait, what are you talking about?
What are you guys talking about?
Do you care to explain, or should we just move on?
Yeah, I'll explain. Explain. Look, I used to work in a gas station, and there are things behind the counter.
Oh, never mind. Now I know what you're talking about.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I get it. I get it.
Copenhagen long cut.
Nope, not that dip.
Yeah. Got it.
Not that kind of dip.
I like how both of you were just like,
We're like, what? Okay, so we want to hear from you. You got to vote on which one of these sides we've presented you think is actually the best.
Do I need to pick one?
No,
Between-
no. We'll put
okay.
them all. We'll put them all up. There's 5 of them. We'll
Because
put them
now
on there.
I kind of want to add
Vote
like
on
a
it.
sweet, I don't know what it was. It was like mashed potatoes, but it was with sweet potatoes, and they'd add in like pineapple chunks, and then they put
This sounds like a
roasted
dessert.
marshmallows on the top.
yeah, that's the sweet potato casserole.
Yeah,
and
is that a dessert?
that's
It's a dessert.
Okay.
Straight up. So again, vote on your favorite that we've represented. If we have not represented your favorite side dish,
That's sweet.
get at us by emailing us at admin@popcr.org. Okay, moving on. So today's episode, we're going to split it into kind of 2 segments. This is actually a part 1 of part 2. So next week we will have a part 2. But in today's episode, we're going to have a segment 1 and a segment 2.
And if
the
you're-
first segment, we're talking about Thanksgiving. So we're going to go through our normal format: rejoice, reject, redeem, a little hyphenated version of it. And then the second part of this episode, we're going to talk about Taylor Swift, specifically Taylor Swift's cultural impact over the life of her career, the last 17 years. We just saw last week, we went to see the movie,
The Eras Tour
movie. And so the last part of this episode, we're going to kind of jump into the Taylor Swift, the Swiftie phenomenon, and talk about her cultural impact just on a big picture level. And then next week, in next week's episode, we're going to go through our normal Rejoice, Reject, Redeem part 2 of the Taylor Swift stuff. And we will talk about specifically the content of the tour itself. So what we saw in the theater, the movie, or it's really a giant concert on the big screen that we got to partake in, and we will unpack some different items within the concert itself. So today's big picture, cultural impact. Next week is more diving specifically into the content of the concert itself. So as we move into segment 1, talking about Thanksgiving, we're going to go again, our normal 3-part, Rejoice, Reject, Redeem. So let's start with rejoicing Thanksgiving and culture and everything that surrounds Thanksgiving, specifically within the United States. So
I think we already hit it with them sides.
them sides. Rejoice.
Rejoicing in the food. Rejoicing in the food. That's easy mode, right? Yeah.
Easy.
Easy peasy.
Jordan, what you got?
Okay, so I rejoice that Thanksgiving is a brief moment culture deliberately tries to come together rather than living in isolation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I actually had a similar point. No, but like I think honestly, I think I don't know if we do it on purpose or if it's just throughout human history or just recorded history, we've always at least known the significance of sitting down at the table and eating with someone. Like there's just something different about it. You can't not get to know the person. Like it'd just be awkward.
Since the invention of the table.
That's right. Table.
You wanted to.
I had a similar one.
That was perfect.
Did you have more?
No,
Did you have more, Jordan?
No, that was basically it.
I want to rejoice that a similar thing, but I kind of had that a consumeristic culture takes time to celebrate the goodness of relationship, which is what we just talked about, and to give thanks, if only for a day, for what they have in the moment. So celebrating, right, giving thanks, enjoying the goodness of relationship, of celebrating, because when you give thanks, right, you're practicing contentment as well.
Yeah.
Recognizing what you have that is good.
Yeah, not focusing on what you don't have or what
Right.
you should have or what you lost.
Right. And I think Thanksgiving, at least for me, is a impactful moment to really, when I give thanks and I take account of the good things in my life, most of the things that I think about are the relrelationships, are the people that I have in my life, are our friendship and my family and my parents and my sister and my extended family and people I work with and just kind of, those are the ones that truly bring me a tremendous amount of joy, right? And the things that I have really kind of fade into the background. So it really helps, at least for me, a time to focus on what is truly important. And that's the relationship with other people and obviously with the Lord as well. So just being thankful for the gifts that God has given to us and for Jesus. So
Are you saying you like us?
love you guys. You guys are the best.
Aw.
Aw.
Love you guys.
Black. Anything else we want to rejoice? I mean, those are the big things.
We've already hit at it, but in my house growing up, Thanksgiving was like, it was the holiday to look forward to.
Mhm.
You know, family disagreements, they can happen. They even happen sometimes on Thanksgiving, but like, it was like, not only just because of the food, because we know how to Thanksgiving really well.
Yeah.
We've had there was one point that we were going to a camping place my parents have a membership to, and they had competitions, and every prize was a turkey. And the first year we did this, we got 5 turkeys.
Oh my gosh.
And we tried, since then, that was our routine or our tradition for a while, is we just go try to win as many turkeys and then cook the turkeys in as many different ways as we could think of. So we've deep fried a turkey. We've barbecued a turkey. It's so good.
Yeah.
But it was always the one time a year that just the family gets together, and sure, family drama can still happen, but it was good. It's always been, and it continues to be, the holiday I look forward to every year. I like Thanksgiving.
Yeah. There's a lot of things to rejoice. So as we move into reject, what are some things that we see within culture around Thanksgiving that we want to just name as not being ideal or not being super, super great? Not super great. Jacob, you want to go first on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My whole thing is just Thanksgiving has been kind of hijacked by, and I have way more to say on this in the redeem spot, because I still think that there's still hope to this. but it's been hijacked by the pace of life that our culture sets. And it's been hijacked by like the capitalism and like just everything. Because I've been seeing ads in store right now that like for some stores, a Black Friday now starts on Wednesday. Are you kidding me? Black Friday is now more like Black Friday week.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll have a lot more to say here in the redeem spot, because there's a whole thing about this that I was just kind of thinking about when I was preparing for this, but just everything is just rushed.
Yeah.
I mean, the day after Halloween, we're already looking at Christmas and the new year, and it's just pushing us to think so far ahead that it's almost to a point where it's like, even if it is a holiday to take and to like practice gratitude, we just don't have time to anymore.
Do you feel like, because I feel like when we were growing up, Black Friday was kind of its own thing.
Yeah.
And it's
Yes.
separate, and it was always like nothing's open until 6 a.m. on Friday. And now it's very much different.
Now it's Wednesday.
What do you feel like there are like, do you think technology is a contributing factor to that? Do you feel like this would happen even without like online shopping and
I don't
all
think
the-
it helps,
Yeah.
but we've been progressively, I don't know, because I've even been hearing it in some ads these days, like saying proudly, America is a 24/7 nation. Why is that a good thing? That we never take a break, that we never stop and rest, that we never catch our breath, and we just have to keep going until we die. Why is that something to be celebrated?
Yeah.
You know why I think we do it?
Why is that?
I think we're afraid to stop and take in the silence.
Mm.
Because if we're busy,
All
and we're
around me are
familiar faces, familiar faces, familiar faces.
Sorry, you said it.
It's all right.
Sound of silence.
In the naked light I saw. Don't get me on Disturbed. Okay. Anyway.
Ow, ow.
What were we talking about? Thanksgiving?
Why Black Friday
People
has
can't take
bled
the sound of
into,
silence.
Oh, why people aren't? Yes, silence. Yes.
Right. So
Thank you.
So I think that people are afraid of silence and sitting in silence and letting that impact and change that. Because when you're quiet and when you're alone and you're like just letting, like not letting anything distract you, right? When you're not busy with work, when you're not busy with your home projects, when you're not busy with your friends and family and kids or whatever, your pets, whatever. Like when you are just, you put all of that aside and you're quiet, all the junk inside of you starts to bubble up to the surface. And we run from that.
It's scary.
It's scary.
Uncomfortable.
It's scary. It can be scary. It can be uncomfortable. But for the believer, that uncomfortability and that those like moments of silence are a prerequisite to a relationship with God. Because it's in the midst of that uncomfortability that we can actually hear the voice of truth saying, despite all of this mess in you, you are loved. And we can't hear that unless we allow all that crap to bubble up to the surface.
Yeah. No, I like to think like God has the loudest voice in creation, but yet he chooses to whisper because it's more intimate.
It's also more humble.
Yeah. Well, I think of like 1 Kings 19. You have Elijah in the cave and he's waiting for the presence of God, and the huge loud storm passes, and then the huge loud fire and the huge loud earthquake and the huge loud winds, but then God comes out in the stillness afterwards.
Yep. For me with Thanksgiving, this isn't so much a reject, but a lament. I mourn with many people in culture and many just people in general that on a day of Thanksgiving and celebration, there are many who experience the pains of broken relationships, of lost loved ones, of the realities of poverty. And I want to name and call the church to be the true family of believers this Thanksgiving season. To invite, not just welcome, but to invite. Right? We say, we'll welcome anybody. You know, who are you inviting? into relationship. Invite others to join in the healthy and the loving spaces that are found all over the place during Thanksgiving, and as Thanksgiving is supposed to be. We, as our life group, like we do a Friendsgiving every year, and it's kind of one of the most joyous things of the whole year. Something we look forward to every year. Every year, people in the life group are like, "Are we doing that again?" I'm like, "Yeah, I guess we got to plan that." But yeah, I'm planning on it. So, Galatians 6:10 calls us. It says, "Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all people, especially to those who belong to the family of believers." So I just encourage us to be mindful for those of us who are hurting during Thanksgiving. I just want to name that I recognize that, and that this could be a really hard time. And for those who maybe aren't, or who have really healthy family situations, or solid group of friends that are getting together, or whatever it is, consider looking to those around you who don't have those things, and extending some invitations this season, and be the loving hands and feet of Jesus in that way.
Yeah.
So it's not so much a rejection again, but just as a mourning and a recognition that this can be a hard time for a lot of people, lonely time for a lot of people. So let's reach out, and this can be a really tangible way we can love somebody.
Yeah. Well, especially so there's a small group in my church that's like, they're doing that, something like that, but at like nursery homes.
Oh, nice.
Because you have the people who are living there don't get to go see their family on that day. And so there's a lot of loneliness up there, and like in nursing homes year round, but it just gets worse around this time of year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jordan, do you have a reject for Thanksgiving?
Oh boy, do I have a
Yeah, you said
here you
something
go.
about this a couple episodes ago, and I've been curious to what you're going
All
to
right.
say right now.
So
I've
I
been
reject Black Friday and consumerism.
Oof.
Immediately following a day that should help us recalibrate ourselves regarding what actually matters.
Oof.
The relationship of Black Friday and Thanksgiving is like serving in a soup kitchen one day and going on a homicidal rampage the next day.
Yeah.
Dang.
Like, why is it that for like we literally have a day set aside every year, and it is ingrained in American culture to come together and be thankful and grateful for what we have, and then we immediately turn to what we don't.
Yeah, dude, it's like Christmas and Boxing Day.
Yeah,
You know what I
because
mean?
why are you going to hit somebody
Like-
after Christmas?
Oh my gosh. No, but it's like, I'm so grateful for my family and all these presents I got, but I don't like those pair of socks my mom got me, so I'm going to return them on Boxing Day.
Yeah. Yep.
It just like preaches inauthenticity. I can be grateful, and then I feel good about myself. I know I can cheat a little bit now. I know I can go out and buy the things I want now because I practice gratitude. I'm good now. Check my box.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like Thanksgiving has become our excuse to indulge in more consumerism. Which Thanksgiving is already kind of Thanksgiving itself can be really consumeristic, even when we're thinking about all of the food, when we're consuming all of that food. And I think it's easy to be consumeristic when we think about that food, and we disguise it as being grateful and thankful. But if we're really grateful and thankful for this abundance of food, then why aren't we doing more of what Connor mentioned and inviting other people to share it with us? Instead of being thankful just for the monetary blessings in our life, why don't we actually show thanksgiving and show gratefulness by being thankful and grateful for other people, for the image of God in other people, and bring them in and share our abundant resources with them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I wonder if it's because we put the thankfulness on the wrong things. We put it on the things rather than the people.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thankfulness is
I'm thankful for, not I'm thankful to.
Yeah. Well, like the meal's fine, but I'm thankful that my family, whether by blood or by choice, is around me just for a day where we can put all worries aside and share a meal. Like the thankfulness is not about the things, it's about the people.
Yep. Yeah. And I think too, it's messy, like it can be way cleaner to just insulate yourself with the people that you're used to being around, and those areas that, for those of us who have those spaces where we can kind of just fall back on, they're just there. It's a lot easier and a lot less messy to just just have our people that we're used to being around instead of
Yeah.
pulling in someone who's maybe on the fringe of that or someone who doesn't know everybody and bringing them in and into that too. But it can be good.
That's what I've loved about like my family's Thanksgiving the last couple of years and where it's evolved with our, like my parents being empty nesters now. Sorry, not sorry. But like since then, my sister starts bringing friends for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And like I think we're bringing somebody with us. I don't know if they're coming or not. But like our Thanksgiving is no longer just the Petker household.
Mhm.
It's great.
Yeah.
And it makes it better that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And even too, I think even if it's not on the actual like Thursday night dinner, like just thinking about those like Friendsgiving, what we shared about, or like going to the retirement community or what the nursing home or whatever.
Yeah.
And just the creating kind of those opportunities around the week of Thanksgiving can be really valuable too. So don't hear us saying it has to be on like Thursday night or Thursday at lunch or dinner or supper, wherever you're from, whatever you call it. That we can be intentional about trying to create that belonging in that space outside of just Thursday. With our reject, we kind of talked a little bit about what we're trying to.
I just wanted to add to that. Just I also want to say that we're not rejecting God's good creation.
Right.
Because that food is good.
Right. And taste and see that the Lord is good. Like enjoy those
I'm
things.
so
and
glad
then-
you said that. I'm going to bring that up in here in a little bit.
well, there we go. So like, that's not, I rail against the consumerism and stuff, but also human beings consume. Like
Honestly, one of the best sermons I've heard about. The guy was talking about Sabbath, but he was talking about like delight, the delighting part of Sabbath. When he was talking to a friend of his about like because the guy was agnostic, trying to question like, oh, is God real, all this stuff, and he looks at him and he's like, have you ever had a mango? But like a really, really good mango. How can you take a bite of that and not be like, the Lord is real and he is good?
I agree.
then the guy's like, I'm allergic to mangoes. No, I'm kidding.
All right, let's redeem this mango conversation.
Yes.
Take us into redeem. That's a good like little mini transition there. So again, we're not rejecting the goodness of God's creation, right? So let's redeem that. Keep going. I think Jacob, you said you
So
wanted
I
to just
do
take it up
think
and run.
I do think the Thanksgiving can be redeemed, and I could talk about how we need to spend more time practicing gratitude, but I don't think that's the point. Like it is, but it isn't. And I could talk about how to engage with family and maybe even the rougher relationships, or dealing with the fallout of not having someone there, or the grief of your first Thanksgiving without someone. But honestly, not a lot of that can be avoided. Family is family. I think this time of year really reveals how the pace of life that we're living at isn't sustainable. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, we've already talked about it. Like Black Friday sales are now no longer on Friday, and they no longer last just at Friday. Now we've got Cyber Monday, and then Christmas shopping, and then New Year's Eve. Let's all get totally plastered and like watch the ball drop. Like Thanksgiving is now turned into a day to shop. And then even before then, with like I said, with Halloween, as soon as November 1st starts, we're now looking at Christmas and the New Year, and everything is just pushed straight through. And the really sad thing is that these holidays that our culture just completely passes are ones about gratitude, love, peace on earth, time with family. Thanksgiving and Christmas are the times of the year that family has always, that my family has always slowed down for. And the more that we've spent enjoying each other's company, the better those holidays have been, even with the arguments. So yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while, guys. But I'm going to break them out again.
Been a while.
I'm going to break out my John Mark Comer.
Yeah, it hasn't been that long.
It's been 2 episodes. It's been bubbling up inside, and I just can't take it anymore.
Dude, go for it, my dude.
So
Go for it.
in John Mark Comer's book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, if you're watching, John Mark, please just come on our show. You'd make my life.
Jake really means is please come to my house and let me just hang out with you for an
Can we
hour.
just like get coffee, man? That'd be great. I would love that. That would probably be one of the best days of my entire life. No, but he's got this book called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, in which he's always talking about, he spends a whole book talking about rest. And there's a chapter in it where he talks about the art of slowing down, where he says, I hate you guys. For those watching, we just saw Jordan and Connor start doing like really ridiculous slow-mo. like the Ken battle scene in Barbie.
Bum, 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 bum,
Chariots of
bum,
Fire.
bum, bum.
I hate you guys.
That's a
Anyways,
Thanksgiving movie right now.
in this chapter, he says this. He says, we're embodied creatures, whole people. Our minds are the portals to our whole persons. So how we think has all sorts of ramifications for how we experience life with God. But the mind is not the only portal. If we can slow both down, the pace at which we think, and two, the pace at which we move our bodies through the world, maybe we can slow down our souls to a place which they can taste and see that the Lord is good, and that the life in his world is good too. In the rest of the chapter, he offers some like helpful examples on like what to do there, and some of them are super specific, like drive the speed limit. Whoa. Why are you in such a hurry to get where you're going? Like get into the slow lane at the checkout, like in the store, or like come to full stop at stop signs. Guys, this is some like revolutionary ideas.
Yeah.
Don't text and drive. Or like show up 10 minutes early for an appointment, or just turn off your phone. Like he's got amazing, not easy, examples of what to do. But I wish that we could get back to a place where on Thanksgiving, all the stores were closed.
Mm.
Because we used to live at a slower pace of life. And like the whole relationship with Jesus, it's called a walk, not a run. Jesus led a slower pace of life, and he took time to himself. And we may not recognize it because, the time that the scriptures were written, the time that Jesus was on this earth, there was a lot less distractions. But he took time to himself. He took time alone to process. Like I think of after he lost his cousin, John the Baptist, he did the whole feeding of the 5,000. And afterward, he still took his time to himself to pray and to grieve. So I think Thanksgiving can be redeemed as long as we just learn to take life at a little slower pace.
Yeah.
Now, I know there's going to be somebody listening that's like, but Jake, what about the passage that says, run the race that is set before you?
I think I would respond with a wise word from Dietrich Bonhoeffer, which is to be prepared to be interrupted by God. If I'm running so fast that I can't be stopped by the God that runs everything, then I'm not living for the right reasons.
Yeah, and I'd also respond with, I think that verse is about perseverance and pushing through rather than the speed at which you are running, but it's the long, laborious faithfulness of running towards Jesus throughout your whole life.
Yeah.
And the perseverance that requires when you think about like a marathon runner having to run a marathon. They're not running as fast as the sprinters, but it's more about perseverance and seeing through too.
Well, and like I think of the common example, like the common fight backs to that of like, well, the devil never takes a day off. Why do you want to be like him? He loses.
Right. Yeah. Never a good reason to say, but the devil does it. Never a good reason to do something.
Such a bad idea. He's not the example.
Why did you curse him? Well, the devil does it. I don't know. I just think of like other like.
Well, but like honestly, and I could be nice about it. I could try to tiptoe around, but really the question is, why do you think you know better than God, who created the entire world and still took time to rest and not. There's so many resources you could go for this, but like that seventh day of creation wasn't taken because God needed to catch his breath.
Right.
It was so that he could look at all that he has done and rejoice and delight in it. And that's what he leads us through for Sabbath. There's so many good resources, including this book by the one, the only John Mark Comer. But Sabbath and rest is a thing that our culture just needs to relearn.
Rest
That
is
was
important.
really long.
There you go. Rest, y'all. Do it. Jordan,
Give it a rest.
you want to redeem?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Thanksgiving is a regular rhythm ingrained in American culture with an opportunity to give thanks to God, especially for giving his son.
Yeah.
And I think the church tries to do that. And I think that is also encouraging that the church is like actively trying to take this thing and redeem it. Because, as you listening or watching are going through, assuming you are in Christ and you consider yourself a part of the church, part of the hope for this podcast is that you too are able to consider like ways to rejoice, reject, and redeem in pop culture and in throughout your life in ways that you can walk with God and walk with Jesus through every moment of your day, right? So I think that's a really cool thing that the church, like, here's an example of how the church is already doing it, how you're possibly already doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And along same lines, I redeem the contentment and thankfulness that Thanksgiving calls all of us to in the United States. There's something special about contentment specifically that I think resonates with people, churched or not churched, believers, not believers, if you're of different faiths or whatever. Like, I think the practice of contentment, the practice of slowing down, like there's this whole, like, a lot of people maybe who are not church or not part of the Christian faith would say, oh, but I'm not, a specific faith, but I'm spiritual. Or like on your watch, like my Apple Watch has this thing where I could turn it on that's talking about like mindfulness.
I actually really love that app.
Yeah. And all of these, I think, and the pause and the contentment is kind of growing, and people are kind of trying to get in tune to that without being in tune. They're like trying to separate that from the Lord.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good bridge point for us to come in and to say, yeah, those are good things that you're practicing. To meditate and to do all these things are good things, but who like for us, who are you meditating with? Are you meditating the power of the Spirit, or are you just clearing your head, type of deal? Are you content just so you can have a happier life, or are you practicing something that is much deeper and much more fulfilling in the Lord that is a part of that? So I think we can redeem those, and we can speak truth as believers that those mental and emotional and physical benefits of being thankful, of practicing contentment, of pausing and resting, ultimately point us to the reality that that's how God has designed us.
Yeah.
Right. Which is what we've been talking about. I went to the 1 Timothy chapter 6, verses 6 through 10, as we think about Thanksgiving and the juxtaposition of being thankful, but being Black Friday and that whole week is the highest point of consumerism in the United States, like as far as how much money is being spent in the market.
Because you'll be content if you just buy ...
Right. And 1 Timothy speaks into this. He says, but godliness and contentment is great gain, for we brought nothing into the world and we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. Those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. So speaking of the truth, that when we pursue things and we pursue money and we pursue all these things that we try to buy to get us happiness, to get us satisfaction, to give us a sense of worth or purpose, that those things are not our ultimate good, that those things are not going to bring us those things that we think they will. And we get on this hamster wheel of just, I need to buy more stuff so that I'm happy, and then I'm not happy, and I got to buy more stuff. And then it's just like a self-fulfilling thing that only God can kind of break in and say, no, I am the source of your joy and purpose and fulfillment. And it's a reminder for us as believers to lean into that this season. And it's a reminder that people are searching for that. When they're going all ballistic on Black Friday and that week and trying to get all the stuff, it's because they're searching for things that are going to bring them joy and fulfillment. Yeah. And we can step in and point to Jesus as the ultimate source of that. So
maybe as we're wrapping this section up, the good challenge for this Thanksgiving season is, as you're sitting down after dinner, you're too fat to move, don't go straight to your phone. Spend time with the people around you. Put that phone down, man. Turn it off, unless you're listening to this episode. Then turn it off whenever you're done listening to this episode.
No. First, get done listening to this episode. Then listen to the song After the World by Disciple, because that goes along with what Connor was saying.
Go.
And
then turn off your phone.
Then turn off your phone, young man or woman, or old man or woman, whatever.
This is
Or
going to be,
non-binary.
and for the younger audience too. Maybe it's not as easy to remember this, but this may be your last time with somebody this Thanksgiving season. You don't know what this next year holds. All we can be trusted with is today. We've already been trusted with yesterday, and the gospel even reminds us, don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow's got its own issues. So the challenge that I want to give, and this doesn't have to be a pop CR challenge, but just me thing, I don't know, is just, and I'll do it too. Like when you sit down after dinner, even before dinner, just turn your phone off. Spend time with the people around you.
Yep. All right. So that's kind of our Thanksgiving segment. Again, if you have things that you want to write in, you want to rejoice, reject, redeem about Thanksgiving, please let us know. Leave a comment. Answer. That's a Q&A on Spotify. You could send us an email, whatever. Let us know. What are some things that maybe you either agree with us on some things, maybe you disagree with us, or maybe you want to add something completely different that we didn't even mention. So feel free to give us that thought. That'd be really beneficial for us. We're going to move into kind of the Taylor Swift portion of this episode. T-Swift, Swifty. Again, looking at
World of Warcraft.
this is a part one of part one of Taylor Swift, not World of Warcraft.
What? Wait.
Are we just gonna keep moving?
If you know, you know.
All right, there we go. We'll keep moving. That was a deep,
Hard left
deep
leg.
cut.
That's a really
That's a
deep
deep
cut.
cut for some of you. So as we move,
And if you do know, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you don't know,
Like, comment, and subscribe.
just covering all our bases. So we're moving into our Taylor Swift portion of the episode today, and again, we're looking at the big picture. So we're gonna kind of look at how has Taylor Swift influenced culture, or represented culture in the last. She broke onto the scene in 2006. She released her first album in October 2006, and since then, I was in early middle school. These guys are probably in late to middle elementary school.
Dude, how much younger do you think we are?
2 years.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Jordan, 3 years, 4 years. How much younger are you than me?
I'll turn 27 a week
Yes.
and a day after this podcast comes out.
That's right. So, yeah,
Shoot, I
2 or
didn't
3
get you
years.
something
So
for
there you
your
go. Yeah, nailed it. I nailed it. Anyways, with my estimation, I'm just saying. You know that there's like if you've been around for a little while, you remember the lying on the cold hard ground, 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 Java, down, ground.
I think we just found the opener for the episode.
with the screaming goat, or my favorite is the one with Nicolas Cage in a beehive.
Oh, yeah, the bees.
So you can, if you have no idea what we're talking about, there, just YouTube it and
Taylor
enjoy,
Swift, Trouble, Screaming Goat.
enjoy that. So we're gonna go a little more informal in this part of our conversation for about 15 or 20 minutes about Taylor Swift, big picture stuff. What stood out to us as we just think back to the last 17 years of Taylor Swift and how she has impacted culture, and how we want to either maybe take some little or rejoice or reject or redeem parts of Taylor Swift's impact on culture. So, all right, I'm going to start with Taylor Swift is a hype machine genius. Genius. Hype machine genius. So, a couple things. One is I want to argue that I don't think anyone has been as in tune and adept with navigating this new and ever-changing like media, social media, connecting
Since
with
COVID.
fans, landscape, even before COVID, but especially since COVID, than she has. And it's amazing. It's a gift. I mean, she's really good at it. Either she or whoever her social team is or whatever, however that's working,
Insane.
they are doing really effective work over there. So
But what do you mean by that, Connor?
Her-
What all has she been doing?
I mean, her ability to engage with fans and build not only relationships with them and bridges like directly to her where fans feel like they're connecting with her on all those platforms and being heard. Like, she doesn't just build fans. She builds like loyal,
It's like she's building
followers.
family.
yeah, and creating that space and devotion and relationship. It's impressive. It's impressive. So I just want to, I don't know if that's a rejoice, but that's just like a praise. Like, she's really good at that.
I mean, but also so I'll hop on that too. The way that she's like re-navigated the music industry because of all the streaming, like, and how everything is going towards streaming. And so streaming for those who don't know, really does not help the musicians that much. Like there's not as much compensation from that. Like just in the ways that she's been able to throw her weight around and like, oh, this 1989 album, Apple Music, if you want it, like pay us.
Yep.
Like I'm not putting it on until you pay us.
Yeah.
That was insane. But like being able to just throw her weight around like that. But not only for herself, because, you know, she's just trying to get some extra bucks in her pocket. Like she didn't already need it. But like the way that she has been, like that moment was able to stand up for artists everywhere.
Right. Yeah. And the hype machine too, like a very real example happened about a month ago. Her specifically with her ability to navigate and to manipulate, I will say manipulate national media attention.
Oh yeah.
She's very shrewd when it comes, and I picked that word specifically, shrewd and masterful with how she does that. So this is an example. Okay, so if you're around here in these parts, central Kansas, there's a lot of Chiefs fans around here. So Taylor Swift has been dating Travis Kelce for a little while.
Wait, they're
around
dating?
here, I think nationally it's a huge deal, but around here people talk about it quite a bit. So listen, here's the deal. Okay, so Usher was announced on September 24th, that's a Sunday morning, as the Super Bowl halftime performer for this coming Super Bowl, which is a big deal. Every year when the NFL announces who the halftime performer is, it's a huge deal.
Huge.
Big deal. So Usher gets announced Sunday morning, September 24th. You know what happened that afternoon?
Taylor Swift was spotted at a football game.
Taylor Swift was spotted in a press box with Donna Kelce, Travis Kelce's mother, and essentially Taylor and Travis Kelce went public with their relationship on Sunday afternoon on national television. You know how many people were talking about Usher that day?
No one.
No one. For a brief moment, it went from everyone's talking about Taylor Swift to, oh, Usher's the halftime. It was immediately back to Taylor Swift, who is dating Travis Kelce, maybe one of the most popular people in the NFL, has one of the most popular sports podcasts, plays on one of the most popular teams who just won the Super Bowl in the NFL, which the NFL is the most popular sport in America. All I'm saying is pessimistic me is saying like that is a very good career move for both of them. So it's mutually beneficial in that way. And the optimistic side of me is saying, I hope it's for love. I hope it's because they actually like enjoy each other and want to be together.
She's just waiting for the next album to be filled with football references and reach an entire new audience.
So what I am saying is that if you think that was a coincidence, the timing of all that, I think you're kidding yourself.
I want to make a prediction.
That was on purpose.
I want to make a slightly serious prediction that her next album, like let's just pretend this relationship doesn't go well. Just looking at her track record, that Taylor Swift is gonna maybe hop genres again, move to dad rock, and just make a bunch of football breakup songs.
That's what my sister said a few times. She's like, I don't know how this is going to end, but I'm just looking forward to the songs about Travis Kelce. She's like, I'm going to get some new songs out of this. So, all right. Somebody else got a thought on.
I want to hop back over to like her being able to balance like digital streaming and physical copies. Because we all looked at this article about like how Taylor Swift has impacted the music area and everything, but like they were talking specifically about how she was able. Oh, where is it? I'm gonna be okay. How I can't remember what. No, it was the Midnight's album. She did the Midnight's album, which was, I think there was over like 500 million streams, but then at the same time, like 1.5 million physical copies sold. And doing that because every single platform or way that you engaged with that album was different. Yeah. And even like, because they were saying her LPs, which I'm assuming those are the records, like would make the same album, but the record would be a different color. And so now you have collectors trying to get in on this. Like I want all the colors, even though they're all the same album. Or how the vinyl album would have bonus content that the streaming would, like just balancing that. I learned a lot as our church's social media person just by reading this article and seeing what all she has done, because the content that you would think as a musician is the only thing that she can offer, which is her music, she's using as the currency to connect with her audience.
Yeah. And just to name that article, I don't think we've named it yet. We kind of use, so all three of us are musicians, if you didn't know this already. What? We're all three musicians. And so we all kind of looked at, to help kind of give us some some ideas to talk about. We were looking at the 9 ways Taylor Swift has changed the music business on, it's a Billboard article. So you can just Google this. You can look it up. It's by Mark Schneider.
Could also put the link in the show notes.
I will have the link in the show notes. That is also a great idea. So you can kind of view that. But that's the article that Jake's referencing there. Cool. Jordan, you got a Taylor Swift thought?
Yeah. First of all, I want to plug a podcast again.
Okay.
And I've plugged this podcast in the past. Podcast past.
Is it the movie proposal?
No.
Is it the Holy Post?
It is the Holy Post.
Da-da-da-da-da.
I want to plug the Holy Post, and specifically, I want to plug their Patreon. And go be it, even if it's just for 1 month, go be a patron to the Holy Post Plus Patreon and listen to Caitlin Chess getting schooled by Caitlin Chess, or getting
That's it.
schooled.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
Getting schooled by Caitlin Chess when she talks about Taylor Swift.
Yep.
And her culture. Have you listened to that one?
I haven't.
I listened
Also,
to that.
Holy Post, please sponsor us.
No kidding. I listened to that on the way here. And Caitlin has a lot of really, really cool things to share about Taylor Swift and pop culture and how women are viewed in pop culture and how women have to make career choices and moves and she just has a lot of really cool stuff to say, and how Taylor Swift ties into faith, and it's just a really, really good, interesting piece of content. Go check that out. Go listen to it. Highly, highly recommend that. Now, the specific thing that I wanted to mention, Taylor Swift is proof that music is still massively important, impactful, and even formative in people's lives. I often scroll around on YouTube and I'll see articles like why Zoomers or whatever, Millennials, whatever the new title is, why they don't
Listen to music.
Yeah, why they don't listen to music anymore, and why music isn't important for them, and this and that, and it's crap. It's not true.
Like there are some truths to that, but also the content that maybe the Gen Zers are like. There's still music in this content.
Well, yeah, no kidding. Well, and okay, what it is like correlation doesn't imply causation. Just because there's a correlation between how
just because it looks like it doesn't mean it's what it is. Basically,
well, sort of, yes. If you can see these two things are both happening in the same circle, but that doesn't mean that thing A is because of thing B or vice versa.
Gotcha.
Like just because the upcoming generation of youth seems to not be interested or engaged in music as plug whatever generation you want here, doesn't mean that's necessarily entirely the case and entirely true.
Because you can also because I feel like with that you can argue like, well, it's because the younger generation, they're all watching like TV reels, movies. But haven't you noticed how like movie soundtracks have gotten a lot better?
Yeah.
Like the content people are like, music is the language of the soul. It is the language of which can connect
Yeah,
the
because we got our
mind.
kicks off about it.
Yeah, I hate you. All the other kids with the pump. Okay, never mind.
All the other kids. And
Okay, anyways, but like
all the other kids.
and all.
all the other kids.
Okay, I don't even. Oh yeah, so like it's like because music is the language of the soul. It connects the mind to the emotions.
Yeah,
it's just what it does. You can't not have it.
yeah. I think for me, just a couple quick things. This is kind of teasing to the next episode a little bit. I'm kind of giving a little teaser here. So I'm going to unpack this more.
Wow, what a tease.
In our part 2.
Connor Gibson.
But some of the good and bad, like
The
thinking
tease.
about that's right, Taylor Swift either influencing culture or being like a mirror of culture, right? Because artistically, as musicians too and artists, like we can either be critical in our art, like we can name what is not good about something, right? Or we can kind of be a reflection of our culture too, and people can resonate in different ways with that. So some of I think the good that I want to name too of Taylor Swift is that I think she's been what we've already talked about, prophetic in many ways, like speaking truth to power or pushing back against things that aren't great, like with all the artist rights stuff, with not being on Spotify for like 3 years because she wasn't happy with the royalties that were being given
with
to
her
artists.
re-released albums.
Yeah, with the re-recording and re-releasing of her albums and all those things. I think she's had a huge impact on the music industry. Not just because she's like one of the biggest, if not right now, the biggest musician, at least in the United States context, but just the way that she has pushed back against things.
The
that
way
that she
she's
feels
used that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think some things to be critical about from a Christian perspective is that the way that many of her songs, again, this is a tease the next time, so I'll unpack this a little bit more in part 2. The way that many of her songs and lyrics are focused heavily on revenge, and on shallow romantic relationships where physical experiences and pleasure is the aim or is the goal. So I want to push back against those things, and I want us to be at least aware of them, if not critical of them, as we consider when we're listening to it or when people around us are listening to it, specifically when people who are younger are listening to Taylor Swift and borderline idolizing her, right?
I don't think it's borderline.
For some, it's not. For some, it is. To consider, okay, what are the not just... Because part of her brilliance as a musician is her songwriting. She's a really, really, really good songwriter and a really, really good storyteller within the songs. And,
It's not even fair.
Yeah, she's really good at that stuff. And so I just want us to be aware about what are the stories that she's telling, and are they good? Are they or are they just not true? And for us to be aware of that. So I named those things. And the last thing I'll say is I think the friendship bracelet trend thing was really cool. And I want to rejoice that straight up. Like, that was a really neat thing. And just that people with all these concerts, that's been a thing for a while, but she
Especially
took
in
it to
rave
the
culture.
next, right. She took it to like the next level with just, people sharing friendship bracelets and making stuff for it. They had like stuff about the economic impact of jewelry business in the cities where she toured, that it was like
real?
astronomical. I don't remember I didn't write the numbers down, but it was like significant economic impact on the jewelry business because people were going out and buying bracelets for people and all this stuff. And I thought that was really cool. And I love that aspect of her tour.
Art
and
art, like supporting art.
yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all have any last thoughts on Taylor Swift cultural impact? Or are you going to save it for the next episode?
Well, I don't know about you,
Very last thing I'll say.
but I'm feeling 22.
Nice. 22.
Very last thing I'll say about Taylor Swift's cultural impact. It's cool to see a pop star, a female pop star that's like this big and this popular in my generation. Because like I grew up listening to like 80s music and like classic rock.
Wait,
and,
you like classic rock?
just a little bit.
Just-
Just
just-
welcome to the no. Anyway. Oh, and when I think back to that era, and I think like there was a lot of like big female musicians and pop stars, who were like you had like there were some really popular ones, but then there were like the super popular ones. I'm talking like Michael Jackson, voice crack, puberty. We're talking about the anyway. I'm talking like Michael Jackson levels of popularity, right? Like there were only a handful that have like really hit that level, right? Like Britney Spears, Madonna. Those are the two that like immediately come
Adele.
to mind. Adele, yeah, in the early 2000s.
Jacob Poet.
Stop it. You're a female?
Just wanted to self plug.
And on that note,
Female
that's
pop
a-
star, Jacob Poet.
Yep.
is it Jacobra?
No, actually, I feel like my female name would like isn't the female version of Jacob like just like Jacqueline?
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. This took a turn.
Anyway,
This ADHD moment brought to you by Jacob Becker.
so it's just cool. It's cool that in like I get to like in my lifetime, because like for me, what's happening with Taylor Swift right now, I think in a couple decades we're gonna look back on this as a similar phenomenon to like the Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like it's really cool to think about like, oh man, I really wonder how this is going to, like, what is the cultural impact going to look like in 20 years? Like when we're looking back on this and we think, oh man, I was in the middle of that moment. I was like, I would live through that.
Yeah.
I just get excited to think like, what is that going to look like? What is that going to be like?
Yeah.
And it's just really cool to me.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
I do have one last thought, just because I need to say it in case somebody, just the right person, happens to listen to this album or this episode. That was a great point, Jordan. I'm going completely left lane, completely different area. I just think it'd be absolutely amazing if Taylor Swift collabed an album with Imogen Heap.
Yeah.
Where are we?
With like
What?
Imogen Heap's amazing like sound design and Taylor Swift's lyrics and storytelling. Come on. Somebody
It'd be fun.
who has this connection, who's listening to this episode. Like, I'm not a Swiftie, but I would love that album.
Taylor Swift ends up listening to this and then she like wants to collab with Imogen Heap because you
Come
mentioned it.
on.
That would
Hey,
be awesome.
put it on social media. She might engage like with you and do that as her fan. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean.
Because
who
that
was
would
it? She
make
did
a
she
great
did
album.
Oh, I don't remember the artist she collaborated with. Oh, I don't remember who it
MC
was.
Hammer, stop, collaborate,
No.
listen.
But they released a single together, and then the fans were like, we can't even hear her on this album. There's not enough of her, and so they went back in and re-recorded it.
I love that.
and came out with a version that had more of. But I don't remember who the artist was. I'll have to link that in the show notes. So that's part of the Taylor Swift genius, hype machine genius, mastermind, engaging with fans is she listens and then she does stuff about it. It's pretty cool.
Taylor, please write with Imogen Heap.
Okay, with that, so again, this is part one of our Taylor Swift stuff. So next week we're going to unpack specifically the concert itself. So again, we went to the movie, we saw the Eras Tour movie. We're going to unpack that movie, that concert itself, and rejoice, reject, and redeem it. Again, we encourage you engage with the Spotify polls, leave a comment, shoot us an email, like, follow, subscribe, all the verbs, you know the drill, and tell your friends about the pod.
And if you really, really like it, tell your enemies.
There you go.
Shout it from the rooftops.
Give it all you got. Shout it from the rooftops. You give it best. I'm gonna shout it from the rooftop. I think that's an old Toby Mac song. Anyways, there you go. You're welcome, everybody.
Standing on the rooftops, waiting till the bomb drops. This is all we've got now. Screaming till your heart stops. Never gonna regret. Watching every sunset. Listen to your heartbeat. All the love that we met. Standing on the rooftops, waiting till the bomb drops. This is all we've got now. Screaming till your heart stops. Never gonna regret. Watching every sunset. Listen to your heartbeat. All the love that we met. Scream your heart out. Okay, I'll stop.
What was that?
Yeah. Nailed it. Love that.
It's a song called Rooftops by Lost Prophets.
There you go.
I had no idea what you're singing.
That'll
That was
be in
just
the
a
show
long
notes
ride.
too. You can compare to Jordan's version and see which one you like better. All right,
gonna be Jordan's version.
We're signing off. We're getting out of here. We're gonna have part 2 coming to you next week. Again, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy people. Enjoy
Turn your
the
phone off.
goodness of creation. Enjoy each other. Enjoy relationship. And we pray that this is a really refreshing time for you this week. So till next time, remember, God is working in pop culture. Pop.
Bye.
No,
Okay,
pop it
bye.
off.